Edan ben Dalit, Edan ben Tamar, Enav ben Penina, Amit bat Dana, Amit ben Limor, Inbar bat Yifat, Aner ben Shira, Karin bat Osnat Asya, Karin bat Luba, Kim bat Miri Pines, Keshet bat Natalia, Ram ben Tamar, Ram bat Mar, Romi bat Merav, Romi Ruchama bat Sarah, Ron ben Sigal, Roni bat Lilach Sandra, Roni ben Birtha, Roi ben Nitza, Rotam bat Ariella, Roz bat Doron, Rachel bat Polina, Rinat bat Mechula, Segev ben Galit, Shocham bat Rachel, Shocham ben Pazit, Shochan ben Rina, Sachak ben Merav, Shinhav bat Rachel, Shaked bat Bela, Sharon ben Limor, Sharon bat Metuka, Sharon bat Ruti Ta'ir bat Edna, Tomer ben Sigal, Tamar bat Yaira, and Tiferet bat Sarah Sarit. As we hear all of their names, and these are people from babies to elderly, we think of all of the lives upended and all of the family members who are just living each moment on the edge of a knife, thinking of their loved ones. As, of course, are we all, because we're part of this extended family, and they are all in our hearts, and we pray so fervently for their safe return. So I hope you'll join me in this prayer. There's Hebrew and English. This is the traditional prayer for those in captivity. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanetunim b'tzara uv'shivya, ha'omdim ben bayam uvein bayabasha, hamakom yerachem alehem, v'yotzi'em mitzara l'ravacha, me'afela la'ora, u'meshe'abud le'geula, hashtaba agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Together, our brothers and sisters, the whole house of Israel, who are in distress and captivity, who wander over sea and over land. May God have mercy on them and bring them from distress to comfort, from darkness to light, from slavery to redemption, now, swiftly, and soon. As together we say, Amen, together with all the Jewish people tonight, praying for their fervent return. Please have a seat. We'll light our Shabbat candles now, page 120 in your prayer book. And I'll invite us to share, is there a piece of light or brightness that's come into your life that you would like to lift up for our community in a very dark time for the Jewish people? Something bright to share as we light these Shabbat lights? It doesn't have to be profound. Please.
Friends of ours became engaged.
Friends of yours became engaged.
They're not Jewish, but I said to her.
They're not Jewish, but yes.
You know what? Thank you. I needed some light.
Oh.
I needed some light.
Yeah. Yeah, needed some light. They're not Jewish. Well, I don't remember which movie. Independence Day we're quoting, but nobody's perfect. That's okay. Just kidding. Oh, I don't know where my microphone went. Sorry about that. Okay. Who else? Please.
My beautiful foster dog, who I'm fostering for Guiding Eyes for the Blind in New York, had puppies.
The foster dog had puppies. Life goes on. Are you responsible for raising these puppies and training them? Thank goodness that's someone else's job. That sounds like a lot.
Okay, so my sister's son and daughter-in-law had their first baby, so...
Mazel tov. First baby in the family.
For them, yes.
Very good for your sister. Wonderful for their family. That's wonderful. Mazel tov.
My middle daughter is having a very special birthday this year. She turns 40.
40 years old. Which makes you 60, right? 52.
No, 29.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Perfect. Yes.
Today is our 2-month wedding anniversary.
Love it. That does deserve a round of applause. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Who else, please?
We have adult children at home, so that's a challenge.
And so, sorry, the bright part of that is?
It is. It is.
For the weekend.
That was a very Stephen comment. Thank you, Stephen. Who else?
The Greater Hartford Federation raised over $5 million for Israel.
Wow, wonderful. Greater Federation raised $5 million. I don't know how much the New Haven Fed raised, but thank you for all who contributed to either or both or other worthy causes. I know everybody's been opening their wallets and their hearts, so it's wonderful to see that show of support and solidarity. Who else? Who else? Anybody else? No? From back there? Yeah?
This is my daughter's first Shabbat service with big people, not little.
Oh, welcome. That's a beautiful thing to celebrate. We're very glad you're both here. Would you like to share your names with the community?
I'm Samantha, and this is Amelia.
Samantha and Amelia. Samantha and Amelia, we're very glad to have you here. You're most welcome. And you're welcome to stay for dinner too if you'd like.
I ran into Andrea in the most sacred place in East Lyme,
Tell me.
Costco. We had a moment.
Sorry, which Andrea?
Andrea.
A chance encounter in what I will call the place that is the best and the worst of us.
Kulanu has this Sunday event with ADL, and the good news is that there are still 10 spots that can be used. So if you have the desire to learn about how to deal with anti-Semitism, there are 10 spots still.
Leave it to Harry to combine good news with an excellent sales pitch. So thank you for the reminder that the ADL event so beautifully planned by Kulanu still has just a few precious seats, and it could be you.
And the reason that Andrea was in Costco and we were consorting was about the menu for that morning.
Oh.
And I want to tell you that Andrea has done a spectacular job of selecting treats.
When they start stocking kosher briskets, will be a messianic moment. That's where Costco will have my full, yes?
The one in New Britain usually has
Stop it. They have kosher meat? They have kosher beef at Costco?
fresh kosher chicken
Wow.
in New Britain. But they don't always have brisket.
The best of the best.
Can we set a goal that this year we'll know as much about the Talmud as about Costco? That would be my bright spot. All right. I'm going to ask for everybody who didn't share one to please consider sharing one over dinner or a couple, because it's so important to share the hakarat hatov, the recognition of good, the gratitude and appreciation for abundance, especially in dark times, as we have the humility to say that as much as our hearts are in a different place and are torn, we also celebrate life and we continue living. Am Yisrael Chai. We live proudly as Jews here and at home and at Costco and anywhere else. Page 120, we'll light the Shabbat candles together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Page 138, we have a taste of that special Shabbat joy at the end of Kabbalat Shabbat as we welcome the presence of Shabbat into our midst with Lecha Dodi. Page 138. Lecha Dodi likrat kal B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Yishmi'anu El HaMeyuchad Adonai Echad Ushemo Echad L'Shem U'Letiferet Ve'Litila Le'Echadodi Li'ikrat Kala Penei Shabbat Ne'kabela Le'Echadodi Li'ikrat Kala Penei Shabbat Ne'kabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'ne'elcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kavela Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kavela Mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzei Mitoch ha'afecha rav lach shevet Ve'mekabacha ve'hu yachamol Alaychem la Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kabela Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri kiva orech Kumi uri Shir daberi kevod Adonai Allahich nigla Lechadodi lichat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kabela Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kabela. We rise and face the entrance. Verse 9. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam besimcha uve'tzola atoch emunei am segula boi chala lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kabela Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat ne'kabela. Page 144. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yomechon Uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uv'izman kariv V'yimeru Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'alam u'le'almei almaya Yitbarach ve'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal Shemei dekudesha b'richu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran be'alma ve'meru. Page 146. Baruchu et Adonai Amevorach. Baruch Adonai Amevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Page 149, let's read this interpretive blessing for the evening at the bottom of the page. We can read it together. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 150. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amachavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shochbeinu u'vekumeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratcha U'v'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nehege yomam v'layla Yomam v'layla V'yahavat echal tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch We can have a seat, page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'keshartam le'od hayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chetavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'isharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם Adonai Elohechem Emet. This week I encountered this quote from Maya Angelou, and she writes, "A bird does not sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song." So we sing this song, Michamocha, page 158. 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora teilot, osef ele, malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, za'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. If a volunteer perhaps to read in English, interpretation of our Hashkivenu, page 161 at the bottom of the page. The volunteer for English. Yes, Stu, you want to come up to the mic for the benefit of those at home?
Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
And we can read together, Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over your people Israel, over Jerusalem. Those words, of course, resonate very differently now. And we pray them with our full hearts. Page 164. I invite you, if it's comfortable for you, please rise for the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Neihem, L'Ma'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atarav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid agashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Micha mocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, melech meimit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh, v'shimecha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yahaleluhu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el akadosh. I'll share this poem by Rabbi Chana Yerushalmi as a kavanah, as an intention into silent prayer. She writes, "During this moment of silence, bring me the grief of my people, centuries born and centuries old, and let it inspire me to still love the world. Connect me with fleeting grace and the prophet's power to keep opening up my soul, even when it is seared with loss. Bring me the courage to quiet my desperate need for answers by letting hearts touch hearts on some imagined coastal plain. Connect me with the calm of a desert valley after a surprise flash flood, the rich pause between musical notes, or the serenity of a Jerusalem street on Shabbat. Bring me the tentative hope in a room before a newborn's cry, Connect me to the frail, silvery thread that links me to the humanity of my neighbor. During this moment of silence, though there are horrors all around, in spite of everything that directs me not, let the more loving one be me. We continue with silent prayer through page 180. Yihu leratzon imrei fi vegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Vegoali, Iyu leratzon, imrei fi, vehegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, vegoali, Can't say how nice it is to hear little footsteps and little voice of a little person here in the sanctuary. That's what sanctuaries were built for, and it's so lovely. Well, you know, being a Jewish person in general is holding the joy and the pain together at the same time, and so there's so much pain to confront and so much brokenness at Misha Berach prayers. It's hard to sometimes even know where to begin. Of course, we begin with our own loved ones and family members, those in our community and in our homes who are in need of healing and support. We think, of course, of all of those who are in hospitals and in field hospitals and needing of recovery in Israel and in Gaza tonight. I think it's important to name regularly that the world wants us to claim pain but distance from other pain, as though when innocent people suffer on one side of a border, it makes them more or less righteous than innocent people suffering on the other side of a border. And the world wants us to pick teams, that if you're Team Israel, you can't also care about the suffering of innocent Palestinians. And that's just not so. It's just not so. And it's important to say frequently that it's not so, because the humanity in all of us reaches out to all who are suffering. And there are a lot of people suffering tonight who shouldn't be and don't deserve to be. So we hold them all in our hearts as we hold all those in our community, including the following: April Diamato, Norma Diamond, Josh Lipschitz, Mark Warner, Larry Pepper, Alan Myers, Joan Shapiro Green, Bonnie Stoddard, Judy Selikoff, Myra Josephson, and David Wren. And also our loved ones, including Connie Ambrosino, Jenny Strauss-Levav, Mickey Bart, Jay Fliss, Michelle Rusinko, Zeke Pereira, Roger Gelvin, Ken Friedman, Joanne Crisulo, Mark Ostreicher, Sydney Scher, Matthew Pincus, Elda Pincus, Bart Young, Han Franklin, Soraya Casey, Rabbi Eric Visnia, John Van Steenbergen, Arlene Weiler, Shelley Sherman Koslow, Paul Frisman, Bruce Petroff, Tim Maurer, Gloria Newell, Sabine Meyer, Carol Bartlett, Mariana Fontana, Beth Zagoria, Jarvis Crumbine, Marcia Wasserman, Adrian Wasserman, Melanie Fletcher, George Martindale, Ira Weiss, and Deanna Rosenberg Garabo, and Steve Siafa. If there are others whom we should think about and add to our Misha Berach prayers, feel free to add their names at this time, either aloud or in your heart. Please. Marianne Katz. Celine Pedamonti. Larry Wasserman. Marvin Goldberg. Please. Mark Harwitz. As we embrace all those who are in need of healing, who are in the grasp of suffering in so many different ways, we join our hearts and spirits together in song for Misha Berach, which can be found at the bottom of your Daf Tefillah little page handout. Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Misha Berach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov. Misha Berach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. From one song to another, words fail. Words fail. You remember that song from Dear Evan Hansen? That's how a song begins when the main character confronts a terrible tragedy that he has made worse. Words fail. Words fail. Sometimes it can be hard to know what words to use, just what to say, especially in times like this. And sometimes just a look or a hug or a shoulder to cry on is more than enough. But how many times in the last 2 weeks have you been pained by words? Words spoken, and especially perhaps words unspoken. Empty gestures, lazy moral equivocations. We are pained by the conflict in the Middle East and things like that. I cannot apportion blame for the difficulty of choosing words. I've lost count of the number of times I myself have said something like, "How are you?" And then instantly I realized that it sounds very thin. It's not the question itself that is hard, but rather the superficiality of the question as we usually ask it. And anyway, this is not the time to ask that question superficially. It's not the time to make vague gestures about how we are. It's not the time to make vague gestures about peace. It's hard work to get the words right at a time like this. But words always matter. And I would say that they matter right now quite a lot. Many of you have sent me statements, letters, from universities, corporations, public schools, if of course they bother to make any statement at all. Most of the statements are quite bad. They tend toward the familiar platitudes about how terrible war is, followed by vague gestures about mental health resources and the dangers of the news. Give me a break. How hard is it to say, Hamas terrorists murdered 1,400 people in cold blood, mostly civilians? How hard is it to say, we condemn terrorism? How hard is it to say, our hearts break with our Jewish brothers and sisters? Well, apparently it's incredibly hard, because very few have said these things. Is it ignorance? Trepidation over wading into politics? Or is it perhaps something more sinister? In Judaism, words have great power. We know this because that's how the Torah starts, right? God begins creating using words. We read it last week in the Torah portion. Vayehi or. God said, let there be light, and it was so. God said, let the water be gathered into one place that the dry land may appear. And it was so. And so on. Then in this week's Torah portion, Parshat Noach, the story of Noah and the ark, God uses words to undo creation just as quickly. V'tishachet haaretz lifnei ha'elohim v'timalei haaretz chamas. The earth became corrupt before God. The earth was filled with violence. Yes, the word Hamas actually appears in the Bible for violence. I'm not making that up. Later we read, Vayinachem Adonai ki asa et ha'adam ba'aretz v'yitatsev al libo. And the Eternal regretted having made humankind on earth. With a sorrowful heart, the Eternal said, Emche et ha'adam. I will blot out from the earth humankind, whom I created. Literally, I will erase humanity. Humans together with beasts, creeping things, and birds of the sky, for I regret that I made them. God's feelings are quite clear. The language, by the way, about creeping things and birds of the sky, does that sound familiar to anyone? That's from Genesis chapter 6, from this week's Torah portion. But it actually uses some of the same language as Genesis chapter 1 that refers specifically to the created things. So I don't think it's a coincidence that God is using the same language to show what God will now uncreate. These perfectly ordered creatures that Genesis chapter 1 shows us, this perfectly ordered world, is now to revert to its original state of primordial chaos. In Hebrew, in the first chapter of Genesis, tohu vavohu. Words destroy all living things, save Noah and his retinue. The world that was beautifully created is now uncreated. Now, we don't have to take these stories literally in order to take them seriously. This is all part of Judaism's deep conception of the power of language, of words to unite or divide, to create or to destroy. Have you ever heard abracadabra? Did you know that's a Jewish phrase? It's actually an Aramaic incantation, which means something like, when I speak, I will create. I will create through speech. In the Harry Potter series, I'm sorry our young friend left for the Harry Potter part. In the Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling takes this phrase in a pretty dark direction, as those of you who are fans will know. She turns it into Avada Kedavra. Don't worry, I don't have my wand, so it's not dangerous. She turns it into Avada Kedavra, which very interestingly changes slightly the meaning of the Aramaic from abracadabra to avda kedabra, if you will. Actually means instead of I will create through speech, I will destroy through speech. So I don't know whether she was an Aramaic lexicographer or she talked to somebody smart or what, or whether it's just an incredible coincidence. But I think she did some sort of research before making this decision, and it's a very Jewish idea. Those of you who remember my ChatGPT sermon from the holidays remember that I spoke about the power of language and speech to create and destroy through the golem, who of course also creates and destroys life. There's also an area of Jewish ethics that is distinctly called Shmirat HaLashon, protecting the tongue, the ethics of speech, guarding one's tongue. If you ever had a bubby who warned you about Lashon Hara, that's from this world of being careful about our speech. So it is in this spirit, everybody, that I invite us to reflect on the last 2 weeks. When were you on the receiving end of words that comforted, that soothed, that built up your world? On the other hand, what words just added pain? What words have you been waiting for, but they never came? I've certainly been hurt by words of moral equivocation or moral equivalence, by words that put Israel or Jews on the defensive because in the court of public opinion we need to justify our suffering, justify the trauma done to us. The world says that we need to prove that Hamas really murdered all of those people that we say, even though there's extensive, horrific evidence. The world needs us to prove that Israel didn't hit a hospital in Gaza, if you've been following that horrible story. Why did the world think that Israel hit that hospital? Because Hamas said so. My lesson for the confirmation students, and I'm happy to share it with anybody who wants, my lesson this Sunday is going to be to look at 6 different newspaper front covers, including a 3 New York Times headline sequence that was rapidly revised because for some reason the New York Times trusted Hamas without doing too much digging. Sorry, fans of the New York Times, they royally screwed it up. Thank you. Judaism cares so much about the ethics of speech because once spoken, words can have the force of truth irrespective of their real accuracy. So, of course, the topic of disinformation, misinformation, social media being hijacked, it's all very relevant from a Jewish angle, and it's all hurting Jews every single day. Have you ever heard the figure of speech that retractions are printed on page 6? Tell that to the Israel embassy staff in Istanbul who were terrorized by mobs responding to fake news. It happened all over the Middle East. This is how one way that things are not Israel's fault become Israel's fault. It's one way that Jew hatred very tragically endures. And I can't believe I have to say this at this moment, but we are full swing in the days of the modern blood libel. That's what's going on to Jews across the world right now. The stories that I have heard this week, my friends, are so chilling. They're things that I hardly believed about the Holocaust, and they've been happening. Luckily, there are many, many bright spots too. There have been beautiful words, nourishing words, words that build up. So I'd like to share 3 of those experiences. Oh, I forgot my prop. Okay, well, you'll have to imagine my prop. So the first is from Reverend Dr. Heather Arkovich, who is the pastor at the North Madison Congregational Church. And she, in the wake of the horrific massacre, sent out an email to the whole interfaith clergy group explaining the specific timing of Simchat Torah, the context of it following after the Yom Kippur War, the cynical, cowardly surprise attack, and why it was so deeply re-traumatizing for Jewish people. That was, for me, so far above and beyond that it made me feel seen and greatly appreciative, which I, of course, shared with her. Second, I know many of you have seen, and if you haven't, I have the cards here to show you, the lovely cards that we received from our friends at Christ Episcopal Church in Guilford, under the leadership of Reverend Mary Ann Osborne. It's hard to imagine being given a card to sign for an event such as this. So I have to give extra credit to everybody who wrote a very heartfelt note in there. That even the notes that people did not really know what to say helped me feel appreciative and seen and understood. And I have to say that I wouldn't know what to say either. So their effort was so deeply appreciated. And finally, and this is where I'm missing my prop, Susan's and my neighbor, Christy, came to knock on our door last Shabbat, right before Torah study. And she had in her arms a little blue and white heart that she had hand crocheted. And I, in that moment, was the one without words. I said, I don't know what to say. I'm just so touched. She said, that's okay. And she gave me a big hug. She actually gave me 2 big hugs. And she gave me her heart. And that was amazing. There are these beautiful moments. I wish to grasp onto all of them. I want to hear your beautiful moments too. Maybe they're too few and far between. All of this is to say that words fail, but only when humans fail. On the other hand, words prevail when kindness and seichel prevails. You know that word seichel? Seichel means discernment, intelligence. Words prevail when they are conceived in compassion and not contempt. This afternoon, I spoke with Mr. Ibrahim Hooper, who is the communications director for CAIR, C-A-I-R, the Council on American Islamic Relations. The CAIR sort of functions as the ADL for the Muslim community in this country. And they've been very busy, as you can imagine. I've, in the past, donated to CAIR because I believe in its mission of combating Islamophobia. And I knew that the Muslim hatred and the Jew hatred would both be going through the roof, unfortunately, in this country. I also felt concerned by what I saw coming out of CAIR that was, frankly, misinformation about Israel and Israel's deeds. And so I tried my best, perhaps this was a bit chutzpahdik, I tried my best to enter a conversation with this man with some vulnerability and empathy. I shared with him my broken heart. This man who did not know me from Adam. I think he was very taken aback, but he was not able to receive my message. I was not, of course, surprised by this, and I told him as much. Despite my efforts, the conversation was ultimately not positive. Maybe I didn't have the right words for him, but not mostly because words failed, but because humans failed. And it wasn't either of us in that conversation who failed. Like in the Noah story, tonight, this week, for the foreseeable future, it may feel that the world is undone. But also we remember that the world, when undone, can be put back together. It can be remade. After all, God tried again. So someday soon I will too. Shabbat Shalom. For the conclusion of our service, we rise and begin with Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 586. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. page 588. שהוא נוטה שמיים ועושה את הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו וזולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום, והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. page 591. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad. Everyone can please have a seat, except for, is it Karen who's greeting us? Who's greeting us tonight? Nobody's greeting us tonight. Okay, maybe I'll greet us tonight. Jeff, would you like to greet us tonight? You want to read the announcements? Jeff misses Jeff misses the special privileges of office. Do I have a copy of the announcements? It's funny, I always print out a copy of the announcements. I literally always do, except apparently for tonight. So please forgive me on that, Jeff. We'll get you in another time. That's so funny. I almost literally every other week of my rabbinate, I've printed it out, and Dafka this week. All right. So here's the announcements for the week. Sorry?
Meditation.
Yes, mindfulness and meditation tomorrow morning on Zoom only, followed at 8 o'clock, followed by 9 a.m. Torah study, Parshat Noach, to be led by Ira Wise. Sunday is a happening day here at TBT because we have our full religious school programming, including confirmation and JChat, and a very special ADL program, which you already heard about from Harry, and they do have a few more special slots, so look out or you might get the hard pitch at dinner to come. It's going to be very special. You should definitely come to that. That is at, what time, Harry? 10 a.m.? 10 to 12. Here at Temple on Sunday. What are our other upcoming announcements? I did see that we added a special Chaverim and women's group event onto the calendar, which is a week from this Sunday will be a special wine tasting. And I heard that Karen's picking up your tab, so you should all sign up. Yes, you do need to RSVP. Check your inbox for that. If we have any new members in here, we're also having a special new member event that we're just putting together now that Karen is actually hosting. So, do you remember what date that is happening offhand? November 5th? Good memory. Absolutely. So, any new members here, if you've joined us in the last few months, or if you are joining on YouTube tonight, please add that to your calendar for the evening of November 5th at Karen's house. A very special swanky invitation, if I don't say so myself. November 3rd is our service of gratitude. That same weekend, That's going to be a chance for us to say thank you to everybody who's helped bring this project to fruition and bring us to this moment. The following night has been postponed in, of course, deference to the times that we're currently living through, but it's not a cancellation, it's a postponement. So just keep an eye on your email for when the date will be announced. It should only take 3 months to find another date. Any other announcements? What are we forgetting? No? Okay, that's a lot. That's a good number of things for now. We're in Cheshvan now, which is the holiday-free month, which is kind of a sad month. Usually also a little bit of a jacuzzi month for rabbis. I'm still looking for my rabbinic jacuzzi, but I haven't found it out here. But Hanukkah, of course, is coming up too, December 7th and 8th, I think. All right, friends. Well, we're going to conclude with a song, and then we'll make Kiddush in the social hall. As you have heard, we have a very special potluck dinner tonight. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's contributed and everybody who helped set it up and arrange it. So I thought I saw Leslie. Did I make up that Leslie was here? Thank you, Leslie and Gary and Stephen and whoever else is in there making it ready for us right now. And Jeff. Yes. Oh, of course. We'll say the Mourner's Kaddish, and then we'll have a song, and then we're going to go in. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So we do turn to the Mourner's Kaddish, which is on page 598. I'll share the names of those from our congregation who have passed away in this time in years gone by, and those in the period of Shiva and Shloshim. Of course, it would be amiss not to say that our whole Jewish family is in a period of Shloshim right now, and so we especially hold in mind all of those lost from our people in the horrific terrorist events of the last 2 weeks, and the soldiers who have perished in their course of duty of service to the state of Israel. We also remember John Bain, father of Craig Bain and Claire Bain, and Marie L. Frisch, mother of Susie Frisch and Jonathan Levine. And you can stay standing if you would like. And as I read the name of your loved one's yahrzeit, please stand if you feel comfortable and remain standing. Tonight we remember Bedrick Auerbach, Muriel Rosen, Robert Scherer, Ethel Josephson, Arthur Masler, Dorothy D. Shore, Sidney Cohn, Minnie Cohn, Sumner Shore, Bruce Gordon, Elizabeth Kelly, Florence Rosine, Sam Spiegelman, Harold Gessner, Sidney Maxon, Betty Richter, Fred Rosenblum, Ruth Greenberg, and Doris Schulman. Is anyone else in a period of mourning tonight?
John Fausti.
Thank you. I invite us, please, to all rise in solidarity with our mourners and solidarity with the Jewish people currently in mourning as we turn to the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach lirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'le'olmei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of harmony on high bring peace to us and comfort to all the bereaved among our people and all people who suffer, as together we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru. Amen. Those who sow in tears will will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, will reap in joy. Shabbat shalom, everybody. We can now go and make Kiddush together.